The tampon king gets back in the ring. I speak of former VP nominee Tim Walz. He joined Beto O'Rourke at a Texas town hall last night, and the estrogen levels were enough to give Chuck Norris menstrual cramps. I wonder, is our strength our diversity?
Our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DNI.
But I'm thinking there's only one explanation for Tim spewing nonsense like this. Time of the month.
In a stand-up comedy show without an interval, Greg Gutfeld completely destroys Tim Walz like a gluten-free piñata at a carnivore convention. His roast is hotter than Tim's approval rating. And yes, it's just as funny as it is brutal. This is what happens when you mix a smug TV host for the governor, who governs like he's lost in a Target parking lot.
Walz continues to be criticized for embellishing his rank in service. After it came out over the weekend, he once claimed to be an official bikini inspector. Walz's direct superior in the National Guard says Walz knew his unit was about to deploy to Iraq and went behind the back of his superior officer to resign. When reached for comment, Walz yelled, "Hey, look over there," and then ran away. Although Walz's actions look bad to veterans, Dems say these revelations could really help him win the coward vote.
The depressing room temperature mashed potatoes that no one requested, but somehow show up next to your steak. Dull, and nonetheless still, there would be the old Tim Walz of political leadership at the buffet. It's less government and more performance. Art when Greg Gutfeld uses sarcasm like a chainsaw in a fireworks store, cutting through barriers as gibberish with the accuracy of a coffee-fueled Dexter on open mic night.
Exploited his military background to cover up his crime. He said it was related to his service, and that he actually wasn't drunk. He just misheard the instructions and the drunk test. He blew a super high level. It was like, 0.2, driving 100 miles an hour. And then when he's running for office, he said that he wasn't drunk. I mean, this guy has creep written all over it. He created a snitch line, but lies about his personal infractions. He doesn't even own up to it. This is a guy who pushes a hoax about sex on a couch, and then the closer you look at him, he's a creepy cuck.
Tim Walz's governance of Minnesota is, let's face it, like seeing a substitute teacher attempt to manage a group of inebriated raccoons. He speaks as if he's read Leadership for Dummies and decided, yes, this is my entire political philosophy. Now, and if your objective is to transform the land of 10,000 lakes into the land of 10,000 stupid ideas, then the execution is perfect.
Just recently, Donald Trump's executive order to make it more difficult, specifically to women, trying to make it more difficult for women to be able to vote. We see one of the first things they do is try and restrict the vote.
Wait, so Trump is making it more difficult for women to vote? How so? Math problems? But it's further proof that the most dangerous thing for a leftist is a follow-up question, which is why you never hear any. But I guess questioning elections is okay now. But the best moment came when Walz forgot who he is.
It's not even satire anymore. It's competitive sarcasm. Greg Gutfeld didn't have to try hard to roast Tim Walz. It's like blindfolding a guy wearing Crocs to a job interview. It's as if Walz showed up to debate with Kazoo and a white board dad. Only has feelings. He practically begged for giving Gutfeld a rose platter labeled extra crispy, then leaned in and whispered, "Be savage."
Same bad cocaine, but Kamala can't speak, he can't speak, Biden was so high he couldn't remember anything. Like, this is literally the dumbest administration of all time. Why is he talking?
It really is the ultimate clown show. And I said this in the pod. He's a clown without a circus.
He doesn't even need makeup.
He's roaming the terrain. Is there some carnival that I could work for? Yeah. I'll watch your windows.
He's a rogue clown.
Yes.
Who is just an inconsequential footnote to vice presidential history.
Yeah.
No one will remember his name on trivia night, and that's going to be in 3 months from
begin with the economy's timidity. Tim Walz stated, "You know what would help more taxes," after examining inflation, unemployment, and company emigration. Let's impose an oxygen tax. Let's calculate the miles. Businesses are escaping Minnesota like a haunted house made entirely of social justice PowerPoints and CO requirements. So let's tax individuals for considering relocating to South Dakota. Gutfeld practically yelled, "How do you manage to make California look like a capitalist utopia in comparison?"
Especially talking about these old white guys who seem to disappoint us on a regular basis in this country.
Dude. You're an old white guy. And you're right, you are a huge disappointment. I guess hating himself is the first thing he's nailed correctly. Because Waltz saying old white men suck isn't a political stance, it's his confession. Waltz calling people old and white is like Maxine Waters making fun of someone for shopping at Wigs R Us. He wants to execute more DEI policies, and Trump wants to execute murderous gang members. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see
The only thing growing in Minnesota under Walz is government paperwork and a collective migraine of the middle class. He tore through economic policy walls like a raccoon through a compost bin. Let's now discuss crime. Tim Walz's approach to public safety is similar to a toddler's plan with matches, optimistic delusions, and sirens. Holding hands and hoping that criminals are moved by interpretive dance is like giving out Senate candles in a burning building.
Waltz lost, but one of them, Politico says, is like Waltz's wide eyes showed his passion and emotional intensity. Can we show that? There is his wide eyes. That humans would widen their eyes to convey that danger is close. What emotion are you getting from that? Sorry. That was
While this is going on, Gutfeld is performing stand-up comedy using statistics. He essentially displayed a map of Minnesota with the words, "Here be carjacking," scrolling across the Twin Cities, comparing Walz's approach to crime to a mall cop using a clipboard and kazoo to quell a riot. We would all be studying Russian by next week if Tim Walz were in charge of national security.
Tim Walz vomits more nonsense.
I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is. It's because he is. Maybe it's an adult like Donald Trump, you bully the out of him back. This is a weak, cruel man that takes it out and punches down on people.
Wow. Oh. Jamie.
What a
Painful,
douchebag,
huh?
Greg. That was absolutely painful. He was the keynote speaker at this conference. Can you imagine having to watch more of?
Let's explore that glistening skitfire, shall we? Naturally, Tim Walz, a former educator, has chosen to transform Minnesota classrooms into havens of woke rhetoric. Ignore math and science students are now evaluated on their ability to recognize microaggressions and create safe spaces using popsicle sticks. Gutfeld went beyond sarcasm when he declared that the only test Minnesota students are passing is a test on how to be perpetually offended. He also claimed that classrooms are becoming less about learning and more about performance art, with students receiving participation trophies and TikTok therapy sessions instead of attention.
So the tone of the media was one of sadness, not reporting Waltz's loss, but mourning it. Now, the truth is that a VP debate is like a colonoscopy. It's important and necessary, but that doesn't mean you want to watch it.
Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Even a deer in the headlights is screaming, "Get the out of the way, dude!" It's no wonder they don't do follow-up questions with Democrats. They're like the top layer of day-old skimpy bean dip. What's underneath, you don't want to see.